Distinguished participants, members of the press, I welcome you all once again to the TRT World Forum. I'm delighted to be here with you for this session titled Journalism on the Front Lines. In this session, we will be discussing the challenges of war journalism. We listen to reporters who have bravely confronted them on the ground and risked their lives for the truth. We are very pleased and honored to have you all here. The current challenges of war reporting have never been more important. We wanted to ensure that this international forum, TRT World Forum, address the struggles of war journalists. We should also be humbled by their experience, and we still have a lot to learn from them. I look forward to listening to these courageous reporters who carry the marks and memories of the front lines. As you might all know, war journalism is among the most fundamental pillars of public communication today. It documents facts, offers context, and helps us make sense of what's going on, and when violence obscures the truth in most difficult times, such as those days. We are living through an increasingly unpredictable and dangerous era in which conventional conflict has returned. The international order established after two world wars is now crumbling. It is a particularly perilous environment for our colleagues reporting from the conflict zones. Some of the most influential countries now declare the peace interval to be over. Now they are revising their defense budgets and threat perceptions, and with the expectation that there will be a war. Film producers 10 years ago focused on fictional themes such as aliens and superheroes. Now, they are reintroducing the reality of the conventional warfare. War, whichever side you are, inevitably brings tragedy. Gaza, Ukraine, Kashmir, Syria, Sudan, all of these regions are just some of those that have endured the most ruthless phase of conflict in recent memory. Seeking meaningful solutions to crises with global implications is essential for humanity's welfare. The destructive power of modern technology means that even victors are never truly triumphant. Destruction, loss, and trauma linger through generations. Please allow me to recall the words of our President, His Excellency Recep Tayyip Erdogan, who has spared no effort to resolve regional and global issues and assumed every responsibility for peace. No one can afford to ignore a problem everywhere in the world, anywhere in the world, abstain from contributing to its solution, or postpone their contribution. For the sake of humanity's common future, everyone is obliged to shoulder responsibility. Guided by this understanding, we strive sincerely to fulfill our responsibility in regional and global affairs. Distinguished participants, there is an often repeated truth about war. In war, the first casualty is the truth. Propaganda, counter-propaganda, and news manipulations have accompanied warfare throughout history. But today's hybrid wars go much further. Truth has become a target. The message on a screen can now be as powerful and as dangerous as a weapon on the ground. We have all witnessed how some countries are using disinformation to shape perceptions, and also hide facts, sometimes even denying images of starving infants in Gaza as mere fabrications. To kill the truth is to normalize and legitimize massacres, genocides, occupations, and destruction. War reporters document cruelty and courage, oppression and resistance, helplessness and loss. Actually, they stand as critical pillars of global conscience and a sense of justice in the world. A war journalist's tools, a camera, a pen, a press vest, a helmet, all of them represent courage and dedication. We have seen all of them were part of courage in Gaza. Yet, as we all know, they no longer guarantee safety. We still remember the Palestinian reporter in Gaza who took off his press vest and said during a live broadcast, "These do not protect us." Sadly, this was not an exaggeration. Unfortunately, more than 250 journalists have been deliberately targeted and killed by Israeli forces during this 2-year-long genocide. When truth becomes a target, those who tell the truth becomes targets too. We saw this before in Rwanda, in Bosnia, and of course in Gaza. It was also war journalists who helped the world see the reality of these genocides and whose reporters later served as key evidence in international trials. I remember with mercy and salute those journalists who gave their lives in pursuit of truth. May their souls rest in peace in heaven. And also, I thank the journalists here today who, despite extreme circumstances, continue to report on Gaza's reality and defend the public's right to know. They have been successful in drawing global attention to the genocide they witnessed. The international community, though quite late, has finally recognized Gaza's honorable resistance and legitimate cause. Many countries have even begun to support it. This awakening was possible with the courage activities of the journalists. You all know the honorable example of the Palestinian journalist Salah al-Jafarawi. His media account, which had millions of followers, was promptly deactivated following his death. The massacre of journalists' only sin was calling out Israel's war crimes on his social media account. He sacrificed his life and was silenced by the oppressors, but his example lives on. Silencing his account was an attempt to silence the truth itself. And this brings us to the new and dangerous form of censorship. We call it algorithmic suppression. In the digital era, the truth can be buried not by bullets, but algorithms. News stories, photos, videos that reveal uncomfortable realities can be hidden, downgraded, and completely removed from visibility. A story may technically exist online, but no one ever sees it. This is a subtle and powerful form of control, a kind of digital dictatorship. It decides what the world sees and what it ignores. Distinguished guests, for years, traditional media monopolies manufactured consent by distorting the truth to fit their political objectives. Now, powerful media organizations seek to preserve their dominance over the narrative by attempting to reestablish in the digital sphere the information hierarchies they built in the traditional media. We have all seen how language is used to shape perception. When Israel attacks, it is called self-defense. When Palestinians resist occupation, it is called terror. Palestinians who are imprisoned or tortured are described as detainees, while Israelis held in conflict are hostages. When Palestinians killed, the reports say they died. When Israelis die, the reports say they were killed. These words are not random. Actually, they create sympathy for one side and dehumanize the other. Distinguished participants, governments, civil society, media organizations, journalists have begun to discuss how we should respond to this algorithmic suppression. At a time when technological progress, particularly in the field of artificial intelligence, is advancing at an unprecedented pace, we must stand united in combating fake news, disinformation, and algorithmic suppression. In the face of emerging military informational complex formed by certain social media platforms, genocidal states, and technology companies, every actor bears significant responsibility. As the Communication Directorate, we are working to establish an infrastructure of truth to ensure algorithmic justice. Turkey will be at the forefront of the fight to safeguard the truth, strengthen social resilience against fake news through media literacy and increasing public awareness. I truly believe that a fairer and more truthful media world can only be built by communicators who are dedicated to the honesty and humanity. I know that it's not an easy mission, but it's a necessary one. Because only when truth survives can justice prevail. Meanwhile, our journalists and war correspondents will continue to bring the realities of the field to the light and employing information shields against weapons of disinformation through verification networks. Today, among us, journalists who have reported from Gaza, Ukraine, and Lebanon, among others, they are bearing witness to wars and human tragedies. While Al Dahtuh, Al Jazeera's Gaza bureau chief, has both endured and documented Israel's atrocities as a Palestinian and as a journalist. Many members of his family, including his children and even his grandchild, were killed in Israeli attacks. Sami Shahada, a TRT Arabic photojournalist and cameraman, was wounded and lost his leg while reporting on Israel's assaults against civilians. Despite the unbearable weight of such personal losses, they never wavered in their commitment to journalism and the truth. Yet, they and many other fearless journalists continue to face censorship and algorithmic suppression when attempting to share their testimonies with the world. Distinguished guests, the circumstances we have discussed compel us to reconsider the extreme injustices in the global media order, including the digital sphere. As the Directorate of Communications, we view the establishment of a fair, conscientious, and pluralistic media system as a necessity. The Century of Turkey vision put forward by our President promotes a global media order centered on truth, justice, and humanitarian values. In line with this vision, we are making every effort across our institutions. We also regard every journalist who upholds ethical and moral principles as a valued partner in this endeavor. I hope that this forum will give productive results in the communication field. And I extend my deepest gratitude to the TRT family, the panelists, and all the participants. Thank you very much.